So for those of you who have come from overseas, and I don't think there is anyone who has not met His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj yet. So if you have not, please make sure you meet Maharaj and take his association. He, as my Guru says, in his absence, there's so many other wonderful God brothers that are looking after all of us, and Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj is certainly one of them. I know for certain Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj will not let that message go by without his own response, and therefore we're going to ask Maharaj to please.
Yes, it was indeed Krishna's divine mercy upon me that I came to South Africa and got involved here, and Maharaj was extremely instrumental for that. As Maharaj said, it was some commotion, some disturbance in the zone, and I had a long discussion with Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and he was the leader of South Africa. He had been a very, very important leader, playing a very important role in this jatra for over 40 years, I think now. And 40? I think he had 30 years. Okay. Okay, yeah. And I feel so fortunate to have such a wonderful godbrother as Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and had the opportunity to work with him. He established a very good standard for spiritual commitment. This jatra owes a lot to Bhakti Charu, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and I can see that under his able guidance how this South African jatra is prospering, flourishing. And the way I started to notice Maharaj's wonderful qualities when he became the chairman of the GBC. Maharaj had become chairman of the GBC for more than one time. Was it the third time? Second time. Maharaj had been the GBC chairman for the second time. Generally, Maharaj is a very quiet and maybe I can also say a little shy person. He does not really want to come forward and display his authority so much. He is a very, what should I say, very humble devotee, befitting an ideal Vaishnava. And so generally we didn't get, I at least didn't get to see Maharaj's amazing qualities. I started to notice it when he became the chairman of the GBC, and he led this body, the highest body of management in ISKCON, with such expertise, with such clarity and intelligence. It was remarkable, and that is why very soon, once again Maharaj had been re-elected as the chairman of the GBC. Maharaj was telling me that I did involved sincerely when I take up a responsibility. But I think that quality is more applicable with His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami. Because whenever he takes up a responsibility, he really commits himself, gives himself fully into it, and the result is the amazing development of Sankirtan movement wherever he gets involved. I feel extremely fortunate to be involved in South Africa. Had I not have been involved, then probably I couldn't get such an intimate and close relationship with wonderful devotees like His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami. Another person who had been very instrumental in involving me in South Africa was His Holiness Partha Maharaj. He was very insistent that I get involved along with His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and also to the foremost of all of them was His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj. Of course, Giriraj Maharaj had been a close friend since a long time, and I have always been very, very appreciative of him. I was an ardent admirer of Giriraj Maharaj because I have seen how Srila Prabhupada treated him with so much love and so much confidence. During his last days, Srila Prabhupada was making wills, and I saw practically in every will Giriraj Maharaj trustees. And so that way you can see how Prabhupada trusted him. It's a pity that we are deprived of Giriraj Maharaj's association in South Africa. And Giriraj Maharaj not only involved me in South Africa, he involved me also in Mauritius. Like when I came here, Maharaj also came over, and together we went to South Africa. And in his own sweet way, when I was there one day, Giriraj Maharaj said, "So, now you have to get involved here also," because Mauritius is like a part of South Africa. I also had such wonderful association with Medhavi Prabhu. Medhavi Prabhu also committed so wonderfully himself to Cape Town. It is under his able guidance that Cape Town Jatra flourished so wonderfully. And we used to go there. I used to go there quite frequently, and we used to have such wonderful association with Medhavi Prabhu. And I'm so happy that we are, although not that occasionally, not that frequently, but still we are getting the association with Medhavi Prabhu. And I feel very fortunate. So is Padma Maharaj. Of course, my relationship with Padma Maharaj goes back to many, many years ago. Started in Mayapur, Australia also. So he was involved in all those places, especially in Mayapur. He was involved in building, constructing Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi, and there also he displayed his amazing qualities. There was, at one time, there was a lot of obstacles which was hindering the progress of the construction of Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi. And Kanamakanana Maharaj was like a lion at that time. He just stood up against all odds and literally took the lead of the construction. And I would say that it's because of his involvement. Prabhupada's Samadhi construction, which was being stifled for a long time, was completed in such a wonderful way. And then he became involved in Vrindavan. He was the president of Vrindavan. He was leading Vrindavan I saw that Vrindavan at that time also had many problems due to Kadambakananda Maharaj's able involvement. Those problems were completely eradicated. And as a result of that, some individuals became envious, or they became revengeful, because his involvement was causing their affecting their business, I would say. And as many of you know, that Kadambakananda was attacked by such people in a very brutal way. But there also we saw Kadambakananda Maharaj's amazing commitment and dedication to Krishna, and how Krishna protected him. When Maharaj was attacked in that way, like I was in touch with the devotees and Vrindavan, and I got to know one amazing feature of that the doctor was amazed that he was actually shot from such a close proximity, practically from a point-blank range. But most of his major organs were unaffected. And the doctor actually said, as if the bullet went like this, like avoiding his vital organs. So how does such a thing happen? Like we can immediately see that it is Krishna who actually protected him. Just as Parikshit Maharaj was protected by Krishna when he was in Madhura's room, we see how Krishna protects his devotees. And this way we can also see what an exalted devotee Kadambakananda Maharaj is. So committed to Srila Prabhupada's mission and serving Krishna that Krishna personally came and took him. So I feel so fortunate to be a part of this ISKCON, the most wonderful spiritual family in this planet. So many such wonderful devotees, and we are so fortunate to have the good fortune of having such close association and intimate relationship with them. Before I joined the movement, I was very much affected by one author called authoress called Ayn Rand. And her thing was that she was portraying a perfect society, the ideal human society. Of course, her whole theory was based on gross materialism, capitalism actually. But anyway, somehow or other, I was also affected by that, and I used to think of the perfect human society where I wanted to become a part of it, the kind of society that she was trying to portray. And today I can see that by Krishna's divine mercy, I found a society, and that society is ISKCON. And I thank Srila Prabhupada for creating this good fortune for me, and I pray to Sri Krishna that I can always remain a part of this family, a part of the spiritual organization forever, life after life. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Ramash, for speaking about the glories of Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, Venerable Prabhu, Holiness Kadambakananda Swami, because they're also so often with us that sometimes we also neglect to understand the greatness of these devotees. And eulogy of these devotees remind us that how we should provide the respect and the understanding of their exalted positions. Thank you so much. It's also my pleasure at this point to call Jagadananda Pandit Prabhu to read to you an offering from our other GBC, Devamrit Swami.
Dear Srila Bhakti Charu Swami, please accept my obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. With pleasure, I submit this appreciation for your wonderful service to Srila Prabhupada. Even more important than the great things that you do is the way you do them, so full of Vaishnava class, gentility, and finesse. I wonder, had you ever the smallest rough edge in you many births ago? To me, you are the exemplar of non-mundane elegance. I pray that the rays of your gem-like qualities may influence me. Your servant, Devamrit Swami. His Holiness Devamrit Swami Maharaj Ki. Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj Ki.
His Holiness Devamrit Swami Maharaj is also the co-GBC, and we would like to also have Maharaj's association more often, but due to his commitments, he comes once in a while. So would Maharaj like to say something about Devamrit?
Yes, Devamrit Maharaj is also another extremely amazing personality, extremely brilliant. His involvement in Krishna consciousness is very exemplary actually. Like his appreciation even before he joined the movement is remarkable. Maharaj was a young boy and he came across some devotee. So devotee, Mataji devotee was preaching to him. And he was so affected by her preaching that he felt that what she is saying is really important and she should be helped. So he had in his possession about $1,000. Those days, $1,000 was a lot of money. So he gave all the money to her. So that actually shows how committed, how appreciated he was. And not only once, in few occasions, he gave the devotees, even before becoming a devotee. He contributed in such an amazing way. And also Maharaj was a very brilliant person. He was educated in Harvard and one of the most prestigious universities in this world. And he had a very brilliant career. A young African American from Harvard, naturally he had a very brilliant career. Just like Bhakti Charu, because the African Americans were actually trying to promote the other bright African Americans to become the leader of the community. And Devamrit Maharaj rejected all that and decided to become a devotee, totally disregarding all the brilliant promises and opportunities that he had at that time. Actually, these are the practical demonstration of one's genuine commitment to Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan. Sacrificed a very, very prosperous and coveted life and committed himself in just serving Srila Prabhupada. And when he joined the movement, he was just another face in the crowd. Like that's almost the time the devotees are treated. We often don't really consider the background of the person or the brilliance of the person. We simply consider when he joined the movement. Oh, you're a new bhakta, so go wash the pots, clean the people, and such menial services. And he took that with genuine sincerity. Whatever service he was allowed to offer to, he committed himself. And then, of course, he got involved in book distribution, and he was a very, very prominent book distributor during those days. And he served under the leading devotees of ISKCON at that time, like Satsuru Maharaj, Kirtananda Maharaj, with great dedication. And we are so fortunate that we have such a brilliant personality within our fold, leading our movement. And you have seen how brilliantly he actually presents Krishna consciousness and motivates the devotees to take to Krishna consciousness. His Holiness Charu Swami Maharaj ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much. Those of us who heard His Holiness Charu Swami Maharaj know what an astute scholar he is and how witty also his presentations are. And there's one thing about Maharaj has a very infectious laughter as well, when he really enjoys the joke. Gumash has already spoken about Medavi Prabhu, and it's our honor to ask him to speak now. Medavi Prabhu is a very, very senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and it has been his influence that the Kirtan Yatra has prospered and the preaching has gone on there. Being temple president for a while in Cape Town as well. So Medavi Prabhu was here over the Radha Astami period, and then in the interim we lost a little contact with him, and I sent him a mail to please come, and he said he would come back, so he's here for our Vyasa.
Even Durban owes a lot to Medavi, and in constructing. Yeah, I also want to mention that not only Cape Town that owes a lot to Medavi Prabhu, even our Durban Jatra owes a lot to Medavi Prabhu. When we are building the temple of that Chatsworth temple, the temple of Radha, then Medavi Prabhu was actually, I think, the biggest collector. And therefore his contribution is unique, his contribution is unparalleled in this Jatra also, in Durban Jatra also. Medavi Prabhu came.
Dear Bhakti Charu, Please accept my humble obeisances, your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, whose appearance anniversary has just passed. All glories to your service to His divine grace, who recognized your good qualifications and engaged you in translating His books into Bengali, and eventually engaged you in His personal service. Bhakti Charu, who wrote the introduction for the tributes book, made numerous and concise references to the quality of gratitude, something that appears to be in short supply within our modern world, and for myself, a word not often found in my regular vocabulary. Definition: gratitude. Being thankful for and ready to return kindness. Personally, I feel that all the assembled devotees here will attest to your kindness. In 1989, the National Council here made a request to the GBC body to allow you to become involved in South Africa as co-GBC. Of course, my personal kind of view of the situation is not as magnanimous as Chaitanya Maharish's, so I hope you'll forgive my small-mindedness. At the time, the Zonacharya system was coming to a grinding halt, and devotees such as yourself, whose consciousness was above the criticism and fault-finding, were in high demand. You had been quickly called by the GBC to responsibilities in France and other parts of Europe, but kindly acceded to our request to be involved here at the bottom of the world. Whenever you visit South Africa, hundreds of devotees regain their life force. So I think at least that part is very accurate. For myself, while temple president, we made numerous visits to Cape Town to inspire the devotees there. Practically all of your initiates are still serving Srila Prabhupada's mission, but in other parts of the globe. I was living with the brahmacharis, and my wife and son were staying with the ladies. Your suggestion that we take separate but adjacent rooms at the other side of the compound made both of our services more effective, meaning my wife and myself. You were very kind to us when we visited India in 1993 during the Manipur festival and ensured that we were taken care of. In 2005, when you stayed briefly at the waterfront, you called and inquired how I was. I mentioned that I required knee replacement surgery, and you made arrangements with His Grace Sadev Krishna Guru. And I'd like to add also the Guru Chaitanya Guru to organize assistance. There is so much you have done for this insignificant soul and continue to do for persons such as myself. I can only pray that sometime there will come the opportunity for me to show my thanks for your kindness. Your servant and God, brother, and
I'd like to thank Bhakti for his wonderful message. It's our great fortune also to have in our midst His Holiness Charu Swami Vyasa. Guru Maharaj was speaking about His Holiness Charu Swami Maharaj, and I was indeed also reflecting that Maharaj is so well known for his kirtan. He is so well known for his nectarian classes. He has the ability of taking deep philosophical issues and presenting them in contemporary ways that are sometimes humorous, but at the same time very, very thought-provoking. And he has a wonderful way with the youth, and therefore a lot of them are seeking the shelter of His Holiness Charu Swami Maharaj, which augurs very well for the society. And Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, I'd also like to mention that, and I can probably give this as my excuse today, on Saturday I missed part of the seminar with you, because we had a student who we do Bhagavad Gita classes with in the South Coast, and they arranged to have a program in their home and invite His Holiness Charu Swami. So I went with him, and I hope you will excuse me. so I was very and before Maharaj speaks, I do want to mention that Maharaj is also a brilliant and profound writer, because leaving a little secret, on the way back from Scottsboro, he read to us the first chapter of the book he's writing, and it held us riveted from the time we left back to Durban, and we didn't know how fast the trip went back to the temple. Very, very profound. So, His Holiness Charu Swami Maharaj.
I'm very fortunate that I can be here today. I was thinking about a mystery in the culture of Sadachar, and how a great Vaishnava sees himself as deprived of all qualification, as fallen, and somehow or other as a recipient of mercy, whereas all others see that same Vaishnava as a great personality. And I was just thinking like that. I was thinking that we all see that Bhakti Charu Maharaj came to Srila Prabhupada's shelter in not an ordinary way, but just at a time when Srila Prabhupada was in the final years of his time with us on the planet, Krishna sent Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and he sent him for a particular purpose. Although maybe at the time that was not completely clear, because when he came, he didn't quite, at first didn't know how to engage that young, educated Bengali boy, because it was a little different than others. But soon, Maharaj became involved in translating, on his own initiative, translating some articles that Srila Prabhupada wrote from Bengali to English. Then became involved in translating Srila Prabhupada's books, and in this way, to Bengali, from English to Bengali. In this way, that was a very valuable service, undoubtedly. But I think it was a preparation for a greater service. I think it was all part of Krishna's plan. And when Bhakti Charu Maharaj in 1977 received sannyas only after a relatively short time in this movement. It was that Srila Prabhupada recognized in him someone who could carry on his mission in time to come. At that time, Srila Prabhupada already said that sannyas means guru. And of course we can list many of the services that Maharaj has done, such as translation of so many books to Bengali, or being Prabhupada's secretary for Indian affairs, and later the elaborate Abhai series, James, so many things. But undoubtedly, I think the most important service is that Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj took up that service as a spiritual master. Because that service he does in a most wonderful, glorious way. Very strict as the representative of Krishna, the Parampara, the scriptures, and especially Srila Prabhupada. Very nicely, in detail, instructing disciples how to behave, how not to behave, what is important. And then, in a very personal way, going out of his way, in a very loving, personal way. And therefore, I feel that in all respects, Bhakti Charu Maharaj is just fulfilling that service in a most wonderful way. Especially with his outstanding dedication to Srila Prabhupada. I think that Bhakti Charu Maharaj is more than the spiritual master of his disciples. I think in that respect, he's the spiritual master of all. Right? And we are all feeling greatly inspired. So, with that, I thank Maharaj for being such a qualified person who is so generous. Even today, in this glorifications, it's just the generosity is just overflowing in giving credit so nicely and genuinely. That all I can say is I thank Maharaj for his kindness on me over the years, and pray that may continue for many years to come. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We also pray, Maharaj, that you extend your kindness for many, many years to come, for all of us in the Devon Yatra. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I'm so happy, I consider myself so fortunate to have a friend like you. And Jayadeva Maharaj is a very, very dear friend of mine. And my relationship with Maharaj makes my relationship with you even more intimate, more loving, and more rewarding. And thank you so much for giving so much to me and to Srila Prabhupada. conflict. As you mentioned, that Guru, I think it was a very wonderful step on the part of His Holiness Jayaditya Maharaj to convince the GBC body to allow you to become a spiritual master. You were the first spiritual master in the second generation, and we are seeing what a wonderful service you are rendering to Srila Prabhupada by taking up this responsibility and executing it with such expertise and sincerity. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Kadambaka ki, Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki. So we have another surprise for you, Maharaj. I'd like to call Sunil Mohan Prabhu to read a message sent for your Vyasa Puja offering by Madhu Sevita Prabhu. So we're not so familiar with Madhu Sevita Prabhu, and we're hoping that Maharaj will tell us more about him. But he is one of the foremost disciples of Srila Prabhupada, GBC in Italy, and also a very strong VBT person. So we are hoping to hear more nectar about him from Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This offering, which I'm about to read to you from Mother Savita Das in the form of a poem, and I hope I'll be able to give expression to it as it was meant. As the old adage would say, a friend in need is a friend indeed. So I'm so thankful to the Lord because He gave me a friend so sweet. When my liver was in pain, I would meet you in Wood Street. You would cook the monk's delight so I could get back on my feet. True refuge in brotherhood, pleasing Srila Prabhupada. When with you I think of Him, Maya runs out of my heart. Bhakti Charu Maharaj, fearless, gentlemanly and kind. I'm embracing you in this day. Please don't ever send me away. Your brother's servant and friend, Madhu Savita Das, Milan, Italy. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj ki.
His Grace Madhu Savita Prabhu ki. How many of you met Madhu Savita Prabhu? Very few of you. He's a wonderful devotee and a very good friend of mine. I joined the movement. I actually joined ISKCON in Mayapur. And Madhu Savita Prabhu those days was the temple commander of Mayapur. Those days, the temple commander's position was a very, very exalted position. Madhu Savita Prabhu was from Italy, or is from Italy, and like many other youngsters, he was traveling to India. He was in Nepal, and he came across the ISKCON movement, and he joined. Actually, he didn't join in Italy. He joined ISKCON movement in India. He came across Krishna consciousness in Nepal, but he did not, in Nepal those days there was no temple, nothing to join, so he just came over to Calcutta and he joined there. A very, very capable devotee, a very straightforward, fearless, and very, very committed. A true warrior for Srila Prabhupada. As you mentioned here, we used to have a very close relationship. Like those days, I used to spend a lot of time in Calcutta. I used to come from Mayapur to Calcutta to take care of various affairs, and we had a wonderful relationship. And yes, I'll just elaborate this part. Actually, Madhu Savita Prabhu had some very serious liver problem at the time. And you know, in India, I mean, when they cook, they know one thing very well, that you have to put a lot of spice in it. Maybe a lot of chili. Otherwise, it's not cooking. So, and one day when I actually found out that he can't take that prashad, and he had this liver problem. And so I invited him. I used to have a place there, well, 2-3 minutes from Calvary Temple. And those days I was actually working on behalf of the Institute. I was one of the directors of BI. And so I had this BI center, plus I used to also translate and take care of the team. So these are the two functions I was executing at the time. So I had my apartment not too far from Calvary Temple. And one day I invited Madhusuri to come to Prashad. He was telling me that he can't eat that food because it's so spicy. So I said, okay, I'll cook something without spices. But I cooked something without spices, but with a lot of ghee. So when he saw that, he was a little shocked. He said, look, ghee is, not going to be right for me to take. I said, look, don't worry about it. When people say that ghee is bad for your health, they're totally incorrect. Ghee is the best food. Ghee is nectar. Not only nectar, milk is nectar. And ghee is the essence of that nectar. So how can it be bad for you? It's bad for those who are meat eaters. Because the stomach that is eating the flesh of cow, which is actually the violence of the cow, how can that digest milk, which is the essence of the cow's affection? Cow's love transforms blood into milk. So anyway, with a kind of hesitation, a lot of hesitation, he cooked what I cooked. And he loved it. And from that day, every day he kept coming to me with a request, please, I used to call it Monk's Delight. Specific preparation. And so he started, he every day would come and I had to cook Monk's Delight. And believe me, he got cured. His liver condition. He did not take any medicine, he did not take anything, but just by taking Monk's Delight. So I was also recalling that incident where he wrote, when my liver was in pain, I would meet you in Wood Street. You would cook the Monk's Delight so I could get back to my feet. His Grace Madhusuri Prabhu